Everything is a learning tool for me, and I'm going to take every last bit of it and try to encourage and motivate others to come to know Jesus. I don't care what anybody would say. I know what works for me. And I want you, just like I go to a restaurant and tell you, hey man, there's some good food down here. I'm going to tell you, hey man, there's some good Jesus over here.
To the Myckx'n part.
I think we have to be honest. I think we have to stop, pussyfooting and tiptoeing around the sore subject of just the quality here of development into our programming, especially for grassroots. But now I'm starting to see it's very prevalent into academy. I'm only speaking for the Central Coast. Australia is a beautiful country. Football is growing here, and I'm talking about soccer in the realms of soccer. We have diamonds in the rough. We have gyms. We have world-class players, right? But I think it's very apparent that we're missing truly what development means. Not enough of us understand that word. And people take a look at LinkedIn profiles and Instagram profiles, and they see the tidbits of what I have done to gain my experience, but they don't know the struggle, they don't know the pain, they don't know the magnitude of what goes into those titles of what I've done. They don't understand the work that's been put into it and the experience that I've gained from those years of different aspects of duties and responsibilities I've done that allows me to pour into the coaching style that I exhibit. I'm not saying that I'm the best coach on the Central Coast. That'll be blasphemous, and that'll be selfish of me to discredit all the amazing coaches, men and women on the Central Coast who are doing quality work. But what I am saying, that it is so siloed, that it is so one-sided, that there's so many youth that are not being serviced enough, because there's so many academies and so many separate entities that are only solely worried about getting money and running cash scams. Let's just be honest about what it is. There's not enough being honesty. People are afraid to speak out because they're afraid of their child being blacklisted. Some of these people have such tight grips on the football market that parents understand that if I speak out, that if someone knows that I said something against such and such or this academy or this person, that this person can just snap their fingers and we can just be blacklisted, and that's going to affect my son and a daughter. But someone has to be a whistleblower, and if that has to be me, that's what it's going to be, because I'm not afraid, because I don't have to compete against anyone. I understand that I run a football ministry, and my standard and my culture and the faith that I produce and what I showcase and how I coach, that might not be for everyone. Even though I spread the gospel and I understand my faith plays a huge part of it, and I coach in a way where a standard and in a structure and discipline is very, very prevalent and important, right? And how my Christian faith is to coach that Jesus is for everyone, but not everyone is for Jesus. And I understand that. So I'm not trying to push any agenda. And people who have come to me and used me, some don't come back because, hey, their child couldn't mesh with the sternness or the tough love, and that's okay. There's no ill will towards that. And some people do come back because they see that Myckx is not only a coach who coaches X and O's, he's a coach who instills confidence, and he instills a faith, and it goes so much beyond the lines of just about football and soccer. And I feel like that's important, because that's where my experience comes in, from working in therapeutic foster care, working in impoverished communities, being a director of a YMCA, all the experiences that I've had of really understanding the psychology of children and understanding the importance of mental health, the importance of having a standard in discipline and structure. That's why I coach the way I coach. I research this. I stay up night and day making sure that I am pouring into the development of not only myself, but for the children that come across me. Every young girl, young boy who comes across to me, I look at them as they are my children, because if I were to pass away, I would hope and I would pray that God puts someone in me daughters' lives that are going to pour into them and have in a love and appropriate relationship with them to bring out the best in them. That's all I could hope for. So when your son or your daughter comes across to me and you don't feel that love, then I'm not doing my job right. My job is to make sure that I am genuinely, with a vehement compassion, to read your son or your daughter, to understand their triggers, to understand, their weaknesses and their strengths, to truly get the best out of them. To understand and develop this repetition, and not all, and get away from this fleeting motivation, because if I'm going to try to motivate every child and understand that motivation comes with ebbs and flows, that you're going to have peaks of motivation and then you're going to have valleys of motivation where it dips lower, but a standard and a discipline and a structure gives a child a choice, that hey, if I can't keep up with this choice, or if I can't keep up with this standard or this structure or this strict code, then I understand that I can't be a part of this. And it's not because, oh, you're Coach Mix is some elitist. No, everyone is welcomed, but not everyone is going to fit into um, the 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 style of how I coach. Is it going to be beneficial? Absolutely. But the consistency and the patience to stick with it is what makes the difference. I see these people afraid to speak up, and they're keeping their children in certain programs because they're so afraid. And some of them just genuinely have no idea where else to go. They have no idea where else to go, because they've been in certain programs and grassroots levels, and they were like, well, we had a mom and dad who were voluntold, and they don't know really what they were doing. A ball was just tossed out, and they just played, and their bad habits were developed, and no one was correcting them, and no one was they were. Kids were being certain disrespectful. You got kids cursing at the refs. You got kids cursing at the opposing teams, and parents about to get in punch-ons on the side, because that club, that association did not develop a code that, hey, that's not going to be allowed. And if you do that, then you can take your business somewhere else. A lot of people are afraid to have people go somewhere else when there's too many people on the Central Coast to be worried about this person or that person giving me money. I think that we have the wrong mindset if we're going to sit here and worry about just making the most money, right? We all understand that money is needed. It is a tool, but it's not the end all be all. And if you have the right people and you have the right support in your corner, there's nothing that can stop you, right? I also think it's dishonest, and I don't think it's if you call yourself a mate or someone who's in connection with these said establishments, and you see that their standard has gone downhill. I think it speaks to your personality and your characteristics that you're going to ignore it and keep inviting people in when you know the standard is dipped. That's not being honest. I would rather someone say, hey, Myckx'n, I noticed that you're falling off. I noticed that you're kind of getting lazy with certain things. Hey, mate, I believe in you, and I feel like this is to change. Every place that I've been in the last 3 years that I've been here, I've had to have those hard conversations with these people, and these people can accredit that. I'm not going to go on Facebook. I'm not going to go on Instagram and post something anonymously. No, I'm going to go straight to the source, and we're going to have a conversation. And if that conversation can't end on equal terms, then amicably I can leave knowing that, hey, at least I tried, and I can go somewhere else without it turning into something tumultuous. And then I would never have and turn my back and then talk bad. But at the end of the day, we are all in this together to try to develop these children. And I just think it's dishonest that we're going to sit here and just ignore it like it's not important. First of all, the culture here, especially on the Central Coast, again, I'm only speaking for the Central Coast. I'm pretty sure it's a country wide, but the standard in the culture here is non-existent. First of all, the grassroots clubs don't have the infrastructure to run proper academies. And then the places that do have the proper academies, they're not successfully and truly pouring into the development of the coaches. I don't mind young coaches. I was a young coach. I started off very young, and and the director who was ahead of me, who eventually trained me up to take her place, she trained me so intently, so compassionately. She poured so much into me that when I did get the job of the director, I was ready for it. And I was only 19 years old, 20 years old, and I stepped into that role so confident because she took the time to really educate me, to pour into me. And that's what we need to do with the young coaches. Just because you play doesn't make you a coach. But if you do have a pathway to coach, like, if my playing career doesn't go as planned, I do want to have some type of venue, some type of avenue to go down and coach. And when you truly pour into these young teenagers to be like, hey, mate, how would you like to be coached? These kids are going to be the future, right? And if you wouldn't coach these kids how you would like to be coached, then what makes it right that you're doing that? Being on your phone, having these inappropriate relationships with them, giving them this fleeting motivation. I'll pay you this if you score this many goals. Like, we're creating these egotistical youth, these egotistical players that is really corrupting. We're exploiting them, and we're exposing them to these mental things that's super negative. But when you have people in places that have a standard that is very has a strict code that is, it's not outrageous strict. It's honestly very fair, very fair. I have a code and a standard, and I've been working with certain associations and certain academies. And when I feel like that standard has viewed off course, again, I will leave amicably. I won't talk bad. I will leave. And I will then give me honest opinion. And if you choose to still go there, it's no hard feelings. It's no hard feelings. People are so quick to be offended, but then don't understand that realness, being true, being genuine, is being able to tell the people you care about, hey, this is not right, rather than falsely agreeing with them and giving them this affirmations that you know deep down is not right. I go back to the culture because the culture here is that we have children practicing one night a week. When it rains, I know this is something that some of the clubs can't help because council have done a fair way decent job of trying to provide ovals, but at the same time, we need more infrastructure. And honestly, I'm saying this on camera. When I hit that million mark, I'm going to build structures. I'm going to build indoor turf pitches to where kids can go, teams can go to train year round if they want to. Because the culture has to happen. The culture that is in NRL, in AFL, in cricket, that's the culture that we need to adopt to football. This hooligan and thuggish culture, this rude and disrespectful culture, this half-ass and mediocre culture is not proper. You cannot thrive in that type of culture. You cannot thrive, and you cannot breed champions in that type of culture. I think back to a couple years ago when the Mariners won a treble, and then went back and won the championship 2 years in a row. Do you understand the buzz? Do you understand the will to win? Do you understand the gumption and the aura that those both coaching staff and the Mariners had to win it 2 years in a row? That was amazing. The city was buzzing. The community was behind. And that's what we need to do for these grassroots in these academies. Stop being afraid, parents. You don't have to be afraid to speak out. I'm not saying that you need to bash these certain places, but if you've spoken out and sent emails or had sit-down conversations about the standard and has it gotten better, then you need to seek someone else. This is what I'm here for. If if my ministry is not able, or you're not comfortable with the faith in the Jesus aspect of me ministry, then that is okay. Then I can point you in the right direction, because I know, I believe in God and I trust in him, and he's going to send me the right people to keep food on my table. So I'm not worried about people coming to me, or providing, right? I know I have a very specific niche, right? And I know I have a very specific style of coaching that only a few people are going to mesh with. And that is okay. I am okay with giving and turning people and pointing people in the correct direction, because I'm not selfish, because it's not a cash scam for me. It's not. It's not. So this is what the Myckx'n Pot is for. Having these hard conversations. Getting the likes in the comments, mate. Send me honestly DMs if you're having questions and you're still afraid of being blacklisted, or reach out, get me number, mate, and we can have a just honest conversations, right? Because it just needs to be had. Australia is, like I said, it's this beautiful country. We have so much talent here, and we have so many world-class players in the making. But if we are not going to pour into the development, if we are not going to help these children develop their struggle muscle, if we are not going to help these children have a standard and a structure and a discipline to really go to the next level, to make champions, then what are we doing it for? To win on a weekend? That's rubbish. To get a trophy, to get a medal that's not even real gold or real silver or real bronze, to get a plastic trophy with your name engraved on it when you're 11 years old. Yeah, that feels good in the time, but I want children to develop. I want children to be able to grow up and say, hey, I have a vision that I want to play at the highest level. And if I can bring that out of you, that even if you don't make it, that whatever venue that you go into, that you still have that mentality, wins.